I get no pleasure out of bringing you this story. This is highly disturbing. I wish I didn't have to talk about it. And it really fits into a conversation I had today that concerns each and every one of us. Hi, everybody. This is Dave Hodges of the Common Sense Show, and we are the show that is freeing America one enslaved mind at a time. Well, what we see here is a development in the vaccine world that threatens every single human being on this planet. In fact, it threatens humanity's existence. It's something right out of Transhumanism, Chapter 1, Verse 1. This is absolutely incredulous. Before I tell you this, I want to give a disclaimer. I was speaking to a colleague today, and we were talking about the New World Order. And it's someone who is pretty fully awake. And she asked me a question that took me from maybe level 3 of a discussion about the deep state to about level 10. And I told her, I said, if I answer your question directly, you'll think I'm a raving lunatic. I said, right now you think I'm making sense because I can document the political corruption, the schemes and the corruptions and so forth. Easy to prove. But if I go to this level, you're going to think the Twilight Zone music is playing and I should be taken away. And that's really kind of where we're at. When you want to really understand what the end game is for the New World Order, you really have to tiptoe people through this. And I really think it takes about 2 to 5 years of intense, to various degrees, study to fully understand how complete and how thorough and what the organizational scheme plan of this is. Now, having given you this, here we go, folks. The FDA has given approval to Zonastadt D. Now, if I were just to say right now that there's a group of people out there in the deep state that want to sterilize everybody and prevent people like you and people like me from having children, you'd say, Dave, that's crazy. At least a lot of you would. Well, what does Zonastadt D do? It keeps deer from reproducing. Now you're thinking, well, that's no big deal, but let me ask you a question. When we test pharmaceuticals, who do we test it on? The animal population, right? That's what gets PETA so upset. How do you know this is not a beta test? How do you know that they don't have something waiting in the wings for humans? That if they don't give it to us directly, it'll be embedded in other vaccines. And you go, well, Dave, that's just crazy thinking. Well, if you followed me for any length of time and you followed the progression, particularly on the website when I'm able to hypertext link everything, and you have followed that, you know I've got a good history of documentation. And what I'm telling you is depopulation is a scheme, and I'm telling you one of the ways that they're going to try to achieve it. Do I think they'll start it here? Absolutely not. They're going to start it in the third world. And watch and see, Bill Gates will be the purveyor of this. He'll be the one to be chosen to make the money. Well, nonetheless, what gets beta tested and used in the third world could someday come here. This could be a global situation. Now, why would I say such a stupid thing? Let me leave you with a couple of facts. Number one, Ted Turner. You've heard of Ted Turner. CNN, TNT, TBS, $50 million gift to the UN. You get the idea. Well, he told Audubon magazine that we needed to reduce the population to 500 million people. That's over a 90% reduction. And then, of course, there was Henry Kissinger, who's still alive and kicking. And he has said something very similar. Well, I believe his figures came in at about 60% of humanity needs to be taken away. We should basically do away with the useless eaters, was one of the ways that he put it. I could go on and on and on with this, but there are plenty of globalist New World Order quotes that speak directly to depopulation. You can basically use any search engine and go through and satisfy yourself this is true. Zonastadt D. Is this the beginning of the end of the human race? Is this going to mark the transition into transhumanism? Is this why we confuse genders? and we're trying to blur the lines between male and female and obscure the two-gender world that we were born into, it's a question worth pursuing, isn't it? Tell me what you think in the comment section. Well, that's it for the Common Sense Show. We are brought to you by Health Masters. You've heard me talk about Health Masters many times. It's my first stop before I would ever go to a doctor. There's things that you need to go to a doctor for. But it wasn't for my ruptured disc in my back. It wasn't for my torn meniscus, my MCL, in my right knee 3 years ago. It wasn't for Doug Hagman's extreme blood sugar issues. Health Masters was the place we both turned to, and you should too. Healthmasters.com and use the coupon code 5COMMON to take 5% off. That's right. We'll see you back here next time. Please share this on your social media.